Well, these all look good. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be playing Naya for the third iteration of our Smuggler's Surprise kind of chapters that we're doing here, where we've already played Gruul, we've already played Jund, and now with request in the comments, I'm going to play a Naya version. This is a list that I came up with. I'm not entirely sure what other Naya variations there are out there, but I kind of went off of what I've learned from the other two decks and kind of put it all in here to kind of see how it went. So the other thing you'll notice because of that is I am playing quite a lot of one-ofs or trimmed the fat on a couple of cards. Like I was on 3 Elishnorn, I'm now on 2, but Terror of the Peaks, as you see, is a one-of, Roxanne is a one-of, Farmer is a one-of, Moonshaker and Tali are both one-ofs, because this is more or less of a testing video on this deck and see if we actually got something here and what we can do to work on the deck outside of that. So our main game plan is we got Marches, Get Lost, and Temporary Lockdown as our mainstay removal. If you count Terror of the Peaks as removal, sure, that makes sense, but that's not kind of the goal with it because it's supposed to hopefully combo with Calamity at times if needed, or just be a nice value piece with an Elishnorn coming in and shooting a lot of things down if we need it. For our ramp here, we are relying on the Trailblazer if we have to plot them and use them to kind of accelerate our mana for a turn, and then play the Stomper, or we're using Trailblazer as a draw engine, which it does very well in today's video. Other than that, we have our kind of one-ofs here, which I'll let them kind of explain themselves when they're in play during the games. And then we have the Moonshaker, Atali's a one-of, and kind of the Vaultborn Tyrant. And our last piece here, last two cards I'll talk about real quick, are Elishnorn and Calamity. Elishnorn doubles ETBs and stops our opponent. Very important, super quick way to explain it. And then we have Calamity, which will be saddled by any creature that we want to get a lot of value out of, and then attack with, make 2 copies of them, and they'll also be tapped and attacking while also entering the battlefield. So if we do have a turn, for example, with Elishnorn in play and Calamity, and we do have this happen with Roxanne, for example, I guess not necessarily Calamity that was a matter, but Trailblazer was in there as well. But Roxanne entered, made a ton of tokens off our meteorites. Well, made 2 meteorites because of Elishnorn, and then also did 8 points of damage off the meteorites entering and getting that ability doubled as well. So we were able to clear the board, make a lot of mana off of it, and then next turn we were just able to kind of hard cast Calamity plus a outcaster Trailblazer, I believe, and then able to draw a ton of cards, make a ton of mana, and do all the crazy things that we were looking to do for the turn. So outside of that, we're going to go ahead and hop into the games. If you all enjoy my content, please be sure to subscribe. It truly helps out the channel a ton. And let's just get out there and game. Go first. No double green here, but we have plenty of lanes in our deck to find another source by the time we get to the Stomper, and Get Lost is pretty good. I'm going to try this hand. This hand could punish me for sure, but let's play this land tapped and pass. Find a green source. Let's keep Get Lost open though. Play 26 lanes. Now, of course, here we're definitely going to slam a Topiary Stomper. Get Mirror Garden. Depending on how our card draws go, if we draw too many lands, we might actually cycle this. Because we have double red, we have double green, we have double white. Obviously, at some point, they could play like... they could play something that interacts with me too well, but Esper Midrange, here we are. Get Lost, the obvious take, I think. Yeah, I think this is definitely a Jet Mirror Cycle angle. You know, let's hide info. Let's not play the basic. I don't know about it, so go. We put in a plains, and now these will be able to attack next turn, which is actually quite scary because sometimes Esper will play the Wandering Emperor, but Topiary Stompers, they're going to get to attack this turn. This is pretty... I think pretty evident that this is a counterspell open. So I'm just going to get in there. I think if this isn't a counterspell, it feels bad. I'm an intern. I think it's counterspell. I'm calling it. I feel like there's no other way that they have 4 mana and they just don't do anything with it. Sure. That's fine. I would like to cycle here. We play 4 caverns in our deck. I'd much rather wait to see if I hit the caverns or not. I'll take my turn. Good question. We will do this on, so we will snap this off. If they tap out, for example, we'll snap it off. If they don't tap out, we obviously have options there. No blocks. You take an 8. Sure. If they tap out at any point, we Smuggler Surprise gem the rest of the board in. But they truly have to like tap out. So this is a lie, by the way. This is still a blue mana. Don't get tricked by it. They didn't do it intentionally, but they're still holding up blue there. So slamming this might not work because I'm 1 mana short. So I can just wait and play that 1 mana. Sure. That's really how you feel. We have these Topiary Stompers and they're attacking and not looking to block. They could block, take 4, go to 9, and then play the backside of this, I suppose. I will force them to counter my Smuggler Surprise on their end step potentially. So I fired off here. Well, that still allows them to play 2 more No More Lies. But I forced them to do it without information of what the rest of my hand is. Or I keep it and then they're forced to take it instead. And then I have 5, 6, 7. But then I can't play this. Oh, man. Sure. You can just look at my hand. Do you feel like Smuggler's to take? Because Smuggler plays this one cheaper. And if I draw an untapped source, it makes it easy to play. Topiary Stomper. Sure. Alright. Sir, do you have a No More Lies? I have 3 mana. And then I'll have 3 mana for the second Topiary Stomper as well. Doing this now because they want to try to counter something or interact with something now. I want them to do it while I get to draw or something, and then these get a little bit more available to attack. But now I have be able to play this plus pay for it. I'm not going to reveal this. We're kind of going to sit on it, so they have to think about it. Most likely there could be an Nganjo here, but I'm attacking. I think I'm losing if I'm not. Emperor plus First Strike, make a 2/2 maybe, block with Dennick and a 2/2.
Then may your blade strike true.
Or it's just double block here. Sick. That actually helps us out a ton. I thought maybe they would try to double block a Stomper. Again, holding this land, kind of just sitting on it to make sure, like, if they want to know the information, or if for whatever reason there's like a hostile investigator in this deck or something, we can then discard that. Wow. Got a board wipe? All out attack here seems crazy into a lethal board. And it's not just like a simple lethal board. It's a pretty lethal board. Unless they have 2 threats, I guess. What a draw, by the way, but I can't even play it. Because they've been playing that they've had No More Lies this entire time. So, with 3 mana available, I would like to play this. And again, they have 2 heroes. So, they do have blue and white available. I would like to pay that. Yes. Get most of their stuff kind of wore down. I can't block anything here, so I just attack out. And if they have no removal, it's lethal. So, sick. We played around that, I think, pretty well. And we get rewarded for it. On to the next one. Opponent goes first. We have Get Lost. Ah, man, this hand's pretty high costing, I guess. But I'm going to keep. We're kind of stress testing our deck right now, so we want to look at what hands are keepable and what aren't. You could argue this is just not keepable in general, but that's what it is. This way we get to hold up a Get Lost. They don't know the information. Then we can play Name Dino and then hit the Topiary Stomper right away. Sure. Let's name Dinosaur. Let's slam a Topiary Stomper. And then we'll grab a second green here. Because most likely our lane is going to get hit with a Field of Ruin. Oh no, I'm surprised. We'll grab a Plains. A lot of basics. We're big basic boys here. Okay. That sucks. They most likely have a counter spell. So like this is just bad. I guess plot this. I don't know. So I can cast it for free next turn and pay around their counter spell. We did just rip 2 lands out of the deck. So the odds of having a ton of them are not great. So this is hard blue-black control. I don't know who told people they're allowed to play this deck against me, but they think they're allowed, which is full snap, you know? Full shiz. I will give them a spell to counter here, though. Is it Elish Norn? It's probably supposed to be Elish Norn. Actually, it's probably supposed to be Terror of the Peaks. Make my red now, slam a terror. Because I can just cast Elish Norn next turn. Oh my, it resolved? I don't believe it, chat. Did you cycle your 3 steps ahead to... So... That would have had to been draw deduce either on upkeep or second main. This is... What are we exiling? I hate this like deadly cover-up exile control deck so much. But I do think it's quite funny that they're going to look at my hand and be like, oh, I can't stop any of that. Okay. If I draw a land, I Smuggler Surprise, put an Elish Norn and a Natali in play, and we call it a day, I think. But it is what it is. All those are gone. Sick. I'd like to do this one. Autopay? They obviously could have another board wipe, so do I take card draw instead, or do I take a Natali? I think I take it. Deadly cover up, so I take the Tyrant, I think. And the reason I take Tyrant is because if they only deadly cover up my board, Tyrant will re-enter the battlefield as a token. Just like that. We got a lot of spells. So my idea, which was inherently a bad idea, by the way, I don't think being the deck that's like, let's play a ton of one-ofs when we have Smuggler Surprise, actually is like working out in our favor, which is quite funny. Combat? This one? That does not feel good. But that makes sense. That's why it doesn't feel good. Uh-huh. A bonk. I guess I'll end my turn. I drew a Smuggler Surprise. I think it's worth potentially just waiting here. Is it worth waiting? I hit so much crazy stuff if I just do it now, right? And then I draw a ton of cards still. I guess I just do it now. And I'm short 1 mana, right? Yeah, so I can't save Elish Norn here. This one. All these all look good. I will deal 4 damage. I forgot that the meteorites are also going to enter the battlefield and deal 4, or I would have made this decision a lot easier. Down to 8 you go. I will decline to cast your Memory Deluge. Temporary Thumper, decline that one. We want the Memory Deluge to stay in exile, because if it doesn't, then we're in actually a worse spot. Because then they have access to that card in their graveyard. Okay, okay. I don't have a mana, so I can't do anything. I'll decline both of those, I guess. Oh, and I have a Moonshaker Cavalry? I didn't draw a Cavern, no? I discard 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy. Bye-bye. Prairie Lockdowns I don't think are necessarily that good in this matchup. But there's definitely cover up. They are exiling. Did they just do 2 get lost? Or they did deadly cover up and shoot the sheriff and they exiled smugglers? Sure. Oh boy. They know my hand now, though. That's the only kind of annoying part. Do I have enough to do this and that? Oh, I do because of these, right? Oh, yeah. We win. Log. I forgot about the meteorites. It didn't even matter. I had enough mana because of how our turn played out before. And now we get there. Super sick. It's working, chat. It's working. Let's go. We're loading up with a pile of crap, and it's working. The deck's been sick so far. Very cool. I mean, these are hands we have to be able to keep, I think. I mean, I want to try. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sick. I mean, this card's good, but I just don't know if we're going to get to it. A simple get. Might get to it. I'm gonna play it just so I don't have priority hold here. Temporary Lockdown's actually really good here. I hope it's just land pay to flip that. Heck yeah. I mean, I'm at 13, so I don't feel great. But like, that could have been what I feel like significantly worse with like Monster Rages, Lightning Strikes, things like that. But we just get to take that out of the way. Very cool. Also, respectable opponent. I love people to play this card. It's one of my favorite cards. So I want this to be named on Mount, I think. So I can play my Calamity, but I'm going to play a Roxanne next turn. Yeah, I think it's got to be named on Mount. So we need to grab a red here. And play this, name Mount. I could have played this differently, actually. No, I don't have another white card, so I couldn't have. I could have played Cavern, named Mount, for example, and then use this mana to play the Topiary Stomper, leaving up a white, so I had March available. But I would kind of need the other white card, you know? Sure. My dad? Could be. There's definitely things that they could do here. Ancestral Anger is pretty cool. Ancestral Anger is a card. Okay, you did not need to play two. Also, my play would have worked, by the way. So, slight inaccuracy by me and all the punish in the world. So that sucks. Oh, man, that's actually kind of annoying. Now I want to hold up a white. Does this make a thing? Does it enter tapped? I think it does. Enters the battlefield, make it tapped. Yeah. I mean, I guess I do this, make the green, hope to hit a land here. I mean, I could just be dead to two Lightning Strikes. They've already played one, but that sucks that I thought of the play after. I want to draw a plane, so I'm going to take a forest. I believe. Now, I have a lot of blockers, and I'm pretty close. I'm close. I have lethal next turn. I'm not close. I have lethal. So they do have to find it here. I only need one of these creatures, so it's definitely like a... There's a lot of damage they have to get through, and they have plenty of ways to give it trample, so I'm throwing everything at them. Yeah, there's Monster Strike. Could be Twin Inferno, give double strike, maybe? No? Okay. Nice. Okay, I wish. I just wish. But I'm going to play Calamity. One. These ones. All right, sick. Yeah, so that turn, I definitely could have played it differently. I can't believe that it actually mattered. I was like, oh, March will be for 0. What's the odds that they actually bring up the Foundry and have something good? If we would have had March on 0 the first time they brought this up and Ancestral Angered it, man, that is absurd that I I found it just after I made the mistake. Tough. Brutal. But we get there anyway, while on the draw against Mono Red, so I feel pretty good. Yeah, sure. Keep. It's like one of the first hands. Oh, by the way, I learned how to hit the record button, so 4 matches are missing, which is very cool. So if I'm a little upset, I've recorded for an hour for no reason because I didn't record at all. But yeah, what are we playing? I feel like this has to be Reenact a Crime. I can't think of anything else. Yep, it's Reenact a Crime. Look at that, chat. I called it almost right away. What feels like almost right away. Yeah, I have a target for my march. They can activate this immediately, which I will march it next turn. My turn. This isn't an artifact, so Get Lost cannot target it. I want them to get their turn on tap with it. I'm gonna force them to use it right now. Yeah. Sure. A cool thing is if I can... Interesting. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I mean, I guess it works if they have Breach, right? Breach the Multiverse. I don't know what for 1 mana on their turn can give them a cycle and do it all where I need to keep this Get Lost available. Here. Because on my turn, if I can get to the point that... Is there one? I guess they could otherworldly gaze and put it in off the top, right? Mount, I guess. Move the combat attack. May put attacks, sacrifice 2 military cards and put a permanent card from among them into... Nah, I'm good. The reason we're declining that, because Reenact the Crime can take it from our graveyard as well. So we're like, not very fond of that. However, if our opponent tries to do something where they discard like an Atraxa, that when it dies... Oh, I'm mad. I'm mad now. I did not realize that was a dies. I mean, I have a way to suplex this thing, but in turn, you don't want to reenact a crime. You don't mean it. Yes. Sure. What did you hit? Stompers and Calamity, I guess. I better get a stop after this. Okay. Why did my thing... What is happening? How did I lose the game? What in the world happened? Resolve. This one. I don't care about full... What are we doing? Why did Streamlabs change my default settings? I hit control and it changes to a different thing. Why? It's never been a thing. I'm so mad right now. Oh, please. Ah, it's Jace. Fair enough. I thought it was gonna be reenact a crime and Atraxa would have entered and did nothing. Why would you not target yourself. You would have drew 3 cards. You know, I'm never going to judge for you, big dog, but I'm going to plot here. Even though that might be a mistake, because I guess I could have done a ton of damage. Dome here. I guess I just kind of snapped off a decision like a dummy. Let's do this, I guess. Sure. Ooh, Roxanne. Sure. I just realized, like, I could have played this, shot this out of the way, hit him for 5, force him to block, but I guess I can always block here. Ace is gone. Sure. Do the play that protects a creature the most. Sure. Although I don't think I find lethal there regardless, so I'm just like protecting myself from a board wipe even more so. Draw a card, discard a card. Elish Norn going to be huge here at preventing them from doing anything. The only problem is I think they get priority to cast the Unraveler. Don't be a breach. No. Well, I guess reenacted crime doesn't do anything if they breach this away. I'm talking about this beseech. I keep saying breach. They go get a spell. I mean, get lost this. Yeah, I think they can like reenact a crime, bring that back, but then they don't have any spells in hand, so they can't do anything, right? Unless I'm baited. Because if they bring it back in Atraxa, sure. This one. So, 10. But we're about to see something really cool. Roxanne. This one. Oh, does it only recognize? I wanted to put all the counters on, but it's what it enters the battlefield as, so it was only going to do 4. Yes. Having double white here is actually pretty good and being one to play. Which means, like, if this is any type of aggro deck, temporary lockdown might just be enough to save us. And if not, we can then kind of connect these Trailblazers into each other and maybe have kind of a good, solid turn. Start off with the garden. What do we got, opponent? Mono black. Potentially. It's not guaranteed, but mono black is pretty popular. No, not Deep Cavern Bat. My friend. What's your next trick going to be? Are you going to play a Gix? I'd be surprised. Yeah, I would say I don't realistically think that was much of a like decision to be made. Pretty sure that was pretty much a snap off. Here comes land. Gix, hit me, draw a card. Yeah? Gonna prove me right or wrong. Sometimes they play Liliana here, but that's too many guesses. I want to guess exactly. You know what I'm saying? Never mind. They choose stare at me. Game action. Decided. Hit me for 1. Hold up removal. I think. Could be wrong. Again. But realistically, I'll probably just plot this other Trailblazer. Just force them to maybe tap out. Because if they do nothing here, it's like clear that they're holding up removal. At least in my opinion. Okay. Go to this card. Is your hand that bad? You felt like you had nothing? I guess this on mount, because it's another card they know about. We can just keep concealing information. Now this backfires if they play Shieldred, but it is what it is. I'm sitting here vibing, having a good time. Liliana, cool, sure.
No more distractions.
Liliana about to be a very bad card. Because the amount of cards I'm looking to draw is pretty high.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Because enter nothing, make a red, play this, enter, make a red, I guess. Calamity. That'll have drawn one, this will draw two, and then I'm about to draw so many cards. Sure. You have nothing, right? This could be a March, I guess. Man, if this is March, it's going to be so bad for me. Here. We'll see. No pause. No pause. So I think we're home free. This one. Draw two cards. Sure. Sure. Moonshaker. I like you. All right. I'm afraid it's broken. I'm sitting. Well, it'll make one, I guess. Here. Okay. I said the other day that it was fixed, but like I'm not entirely sold that it is. Oh boy. Look at all these spells. White. White. We might as well use this floated mana and exile this. Alright. Bonk, bonk, and bonk. And then I will, in turn, sack these, and then I will discard two cards. Playing our Forest. Okay. I feel pretty good about my hand. Because I have Moonshaker Cavalry. I really hope they let me do it. I want to do it one time. I want to justify playing this card, but I don't think they'll let me. And that's fine. Remove. I draw another copy of this, and then I Moonshaker Cavalry them anyway. This doesn't give haste, right? Here's Battlefield. They just get flying in XX? Yeah. Yeah. Please, opponent. If they had a white path, Deadly Cover-Up's also an option. Virtue. You live here with that, in theory. I'm one short, but I'm going to go for it regardless. This one. Autopay. What do we have, opponent? I'm putting in Trailblazer and Moonshaker Cavalry. These ones. These ones. Nice. Man, I'm gonna go for the crew. Now, is this definitely a bad decision? Yeah, for sure. This is a horrible decision, but I'm doing it anyway. Look at them. They all got flying. They're dope. Red, I guess. You'll let this happen, right, opponent? You've never seen a Moonshaker Cavalry do this before. You must let it happen. They have a go for the throat, but I just want it to happen so bad. No, please, bro. Oh, that sucks. Now I just name Dino, play Atali, and then win the old-fashioned way. This is just a 6/6. Like, I mean, it could still win. They could deadly cover up me and cause a lot of problems. Which is why, like, doing the smugglers there doesn't make any sense, but I wanted to. Sure. Ah, man. Move to combat. Attack. They could have removal. Again, March is still an option. I'm just going to let him out. Go to combat and attack. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I figured that was lethal, but like, I didn't want to waste time playing the Atali, you know, and like doing all the triggers, but okay. So I'm gonna talk about this deck a little bit here. If you skipped a match, because you definitely could have, or you might have just missed me saying it, I did lose like an hour. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was like an hour and a half of footage where a couple of my games were pretty bad. The mana was the main kind of contributor to that. I either had like awkward hands where I had to maul. One game I mauled to 5 and then just like lost. But I did end up playing like a 20-minute game against Orzhov. We grinded that game out, and then I played another game that I ended up grinding out, which was very cool. And I was really excited. And I looked over at my Streamlabs and I said, wow, the big giant red button's not on. That sucks for me really bad. But as you can tell, apparently hitting a button might have stopped the recording as well, because I was hitting buttons and my scenes were changing. So I'm having a good day. It's very fine. Everything's great. I'm having a blast. But let's talk about this deck. I decided in Naya to kind of somewhat, because I could not find a list. I don't know. I got recommended to play Naya, and I know a couple people in the last video said that they were a Naya fan, so I was like, why not try it? I'm already trying decks with Smuggler Surprise. Why not try it? Now, the main issue I had is I couldn't find a kind of starting point, so I just made the deck list, and I did end up kind of catering this deck list a lot of what Jund was doing and their kind of removal and how like their curve was paid out, but I definitely just adjusted it a lot since then. So, for example, a Mimic, as you might be able to tell, is the Smuggler Surprise and the Marches. This was 2 copies of Cut Down. So we played in 2 Marches. I do like March a lot because it helps us in our Boros matchup so much. And 4 Get Lost. And I'm okay with playing these Get Lost because we have to play something here. I feel like where the Gruul deck goes wrong is they don't have a 2-mana card that works very well in this slot, like a Get Lost or a Go for the Throat. And because they don't, they just play more ramp. So I opted to not do that because I like the way Jund felt more. So I went with the removal instead and used temporary lockdown to eat up the tokens or help us against Boros. There's a lot of things temporary lockdown helps us with. So putting this in when it takes nothing of ours outside of like the tokens this makes. But what else have we got in here? We have the typical Trailblazers and Stomper for 8. I'm playing 1 farmer. I actually just wanted to play a 4-drop in normal fashion. Like Shielder is obviously not playable here. I think a lot of red creatures relied on spells and stuff, but I wanted to play this. I hadn't played it quite yet, and I thought being able to sack our foods and stuff would be a great idea so we can actually get some permanence back and whatnot, and also gain some life in the matchups we might need it. And a 5/5 Trampler is no slouch. Copying that with Calamity is also pretty good as we swing in for 4/6 haste and 10 trample, make 4 foods, and then if an Elish Norn's in play, make a ton more foods. Like, it just seems like a really good idea. One card I did like more than anything, I played 1 Terror and 1 Brawler just to kind of test out which one I liked more in this list. Brawler was pretty sick and Terror was pretty sick. I do think these were the weaker cards of the bunch. Like, most of the time I never really wanted them. For example, I'm not sure I wouldn't have appreciated maybe playing another Roxanne and an Elish Norn maybe, or lowering the curve a little. I did feel like it was a little high, and maybe playing the Carnosaur that we can discard maybe will help that. I did, again, kind of just snowballing here on what I was doing. But these didn't necessarily feel incredible, but also didn't feel bad. So it's kind of like, is there better options? Maybe. Are we trying to play a different style and then the 1 punch? Yes. So are these bad if we're trying not to 1-hit our opponent a lot of times? Probably. But Terror of the Peaks is super sick, and I wanted to play it. And Railway Brawler's super sick as well, so I wanted to play him. So very cool. Especially with the Elish Norn, these get like significantly better. We did get to play Roxanne, and Roxanne made 2 meteorites and shot for 8 damage with both these meteorite tokens. And that was super dope with the Elish Norn. So I feel like these are kind of a good synergy to play, especially with Smuggler Surprise, because if we put in both of these, like, we're doing a ton of damage, whether this is cleaning up the board, even stopping ETBs, things like that. Other than that, our top end was a little bit weird. I didn't get to play the Tyrant at all, but I think we were all past the point of knowing this card is just good. Like, this card is just solid. Like, if you're playing a Smuggler Surprise, get this in your deck somehow. Whether it's 2 copies, I would settle on 2 because having too many of this card does kind of suck in a sense, because you don't want to have too many in your opener, and you have to make room for a card like Calamity, so it does get a little tight. I opted for 3 because I'm already not necessarily going for that one-shot kill, which might mean more of a reason to cut here on these Terror of the Peaks and Railway Brawlers, so keep that in mind if you are going to try to play Naya. Is playing 3 of these, you might be able to trim these, and then maybe even, like I said, lowering the curve in terms of playing another temporary lockdown or like a March, or even maybe fitting in 2 glimpses to rip out some more lands early to kind of help accelerate your mana base, or playing something that will allow us just to play an extra land for the turn, like Azusa, for example, the enchantment Azusa, not Azusa Lost but Seeking. My lord, I was happy that card was gone. But playing something that'll just give us an additional land drop might be worth it as well, but not really entirely sure. And for the last little bit, I haven't played with Moonshaker Cavalry, and I just wanted to play it, and I thought, wow, if I get to put in a Calamity and Moonshaker Cavalry and copy the Moonshaker, that's going to be dope. I was close. They took it from me. But I was close. I was so close, but they took it from me. Other than that, we play Atali as a one-of. This honestly should probably just be 2 Atalis or Carnosaurs, because like the way this works with Elish Norn, like Atali is like a significantly better threat to jam in with the Elish Norn on your opponent's instep, because now you're going to get 2 spells out of your deck, 2 spells out of your opponent's deck, and if they're both good, you're going to pop off and go crazy. Moonshaker Cavalry, you could argue, is like worth it, and maybe you just trim these out and keep the Moonshaker, go up in Atali, and add a down here card. Unsure. Other than that, I think this one slots in the middle. I do think Jund felt slightly better. Just because of, again, I think Get Lost, it really comes down to Go for the Throat being better than Get Lost, and Cut Down slightly being better than March slightly. In spots. Actually, that's probably not even true. But more than anything, I think if we're looking at this top end, I think Vein Ripper is kind of better than like any of these. I think Vein Ripper, like if you're arguing card for card in this style deck, even here, I guess, but this is like my argument here is Shieldred is definitely better than this card, so like I don't even have to fight for that card. But I think Vein Ripper typically finds itself better than almost any of these cards. Maybe not necessarily better than Elish Norn in most cases, but like Vein Ripper is pretty sick. I like Vein Ripper a lot, but I did enjoy this deck. It did work out pretty well. Last note I will provide is that Cavern at 4 of might be a little questionable. You might want to consider strengthening up some of your other colored mana, but I didn't play a ton of games, so you can argue, well, that only happened every now and then, because some of the games I think that I end up not losing, but were not recorded. My hands were like Cavern plus 1 basic with like a Stomper in hand, and it'd be like a red basic, and I was like, well, okay, keep that. So it's a little bit weird. The mana base is probably a little bit questionable, might need worked on. So outside of that, I definitely enjoyed it. I think it slots in the middle. I actually liked it more than Gruul, because I do kind of enjoy playing a little bit more interaction than kind of being heads up. But there is another Gruul build out there that is a little bit more reliant on being interactive than the one I played, so we might reapproach it in the future here. But for now, this is where I'm at, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.